Good afternoon or good morning and welcome to Safari Live. My name is Steve Falconbridge and I'm joined on camera by the impeccable Davicito. And I would like to welcome the school, Central Elementary School, all the way from Virginia, joining us this afternoon. Welcome, welcome. It is your first time. I believe you'd like to talk about habitats and life cycles, living and non-living organisms, and that we can do. Please let your teacher know what questions and comments you might have. Send them through to us so we can facilitate that. This is live and 100% interactive, coming to you all the way from Djuma in the great Kruger Park, South Africa. Behind me, you can see some beautiful wildebeest. They are interacting with their environment. They're interacting with me right now with that snorting alarm call that you can hear. I wonder if you can hear it. So, they're basically telling me, I've seen you, don't come any closer. Okay, so we're going to carry on. We're on bushwalk this afternoon. Very exciting. We're going to go over to someone else on activity. James Henry, he's found himself an animal.
It is exciting to be out here in the wilderness on a beautiful autumn afternoon here in South Africa. A long way from Central Elementary School in Virginia. Anyway, it's lovely to be with you, and of course we're in autumn, which you would call fall, and you are in spring, which is very exciting indeed. So my name is James. On camera today we have got Sebastian, and he's from another African country called Gabon. But he can, if you want to know about that, he can tell you about it a bit later. Otherwise, we're going to look for exciting things down at a big waterhole over here. But before we've even got there, we've got a whole lot of impala here. And impala are the most common antelope that we get out here. Lots and lots of them we find. And these are all male impala. We know that because they have got horns. Alex, you want to know what the best time to see animals on safari is? Well, Alex, it depends. Do you mean during the day or do you mean in the year? I'm going to assume you mean during the day. And the best time of the day is early morning and early evening. So in the early morning time, just as the sun rises, all the impala will come out to eat, but some of the predators, like the lions and leopards and the hyenas, are still moving around. In the hot parts of the day, you'll find that most animals find the shade, and then they go to sleep in the shade, and they don't really like to move too much when it's hot, and they rest. And then later in the afternoon, and it's now just about 3:45 in the afternoon, then they start to get active again, and that's why we go on safari now. Nay, you can see perhaps you're thinking that it gets quite dry here, which it does indeed, especially during winter, which is coming up now, and you say, is there enough water here in the dry season for all the animals? No, not always. Sometimes we have a drought, and then the animals really do struggle, especially animals like these impala. Now, this impala is doing something very interesting. Watch him. Looks like he's having a fight with a tree, doesn't it? And it would be very stupid to have a fight with a tree, because the tree will almost always win unless you're an elephant. But what he's doing there is trying to show that he's very big and strong, because at this time of the year, the impala like to show how big and strong they are to each other, because soon they're going to try and find a whole lot of wives. So they will get married, and they're only married for a year, and then they're not married anymore. Desmond, you say, why are the impala horns so long? Well, they're not very long, Desmond. They're only about, I'd say, let's say 18 inches long. That's not very long. There are certainly antelope with much longer horns, like the kudu. They'll have probably horns of about 3 feet long. So that's much longer than that. That's 36 inches. It's twice the length of those ones. But you will get very small antelope, like the steenbok, which have horns not much bigger than the pencil on your desk next to you. So you can imagine having 2 of those pencils on the top of your head. That's what a steenbok has got. Alrighty, let's go down across to my friend Brent. We're going to head down towards the water and see if there's anything coming for a drink.
Hello Central Elementary, and how exciting to have you on your very first live safari. My name is Brent. I've got my friend Senzo on camera and we're looking for leopards. So I want all the questions you can give me about leopards. Now I'm going to ask you a question to start the ball rolling. Can you tell me, is there such a thing as a black leopard? Give your answers to your teacher, let me know, but now you've got to send me questions, otherwise I'm going to keep asking you questions. But I'm hoping we're going to find a leopard in this area. They like these thickets next to the riverbeds, and there's a little bit of water close by, so maybe they might go for a drink. Chloe, Ryan and Nathaniel, I really hope we see a leopard first, but I think we'll see lots of different animals. I think you've already seen wildebeest with Steve. We might see some impala, which is a type of antelope, inyala, duiker. If we're lucky, we could see some elephants or some buffalo as well. And you never know what you're going to find when we go out. So we look at places like this, where lots of animals like to come while it's hot like it is at the moment, to come for a little drink. Now, the water looks quite muddy and yucky for us to drink. Oh, look at that! Someone else has come for a drink, and it's an animal I wasn't even thinking about. So we're going to start off, I'll drive, with a little reptile. It is called a Speke's hinged tortoise. Hello, little tortoise. Now, tortoises love water, and sometimes they'll even swim when it's hot. So we might get lucky. This little chap might go for a dip. Oh, there we go. He's going to go for a swim. Don't get shy. In you go. It's hot, I know. I'm jealous. I would like to be swimming as well. Look at that. Isn't that cool? So this is the smallest of the two tortoise species we get here, and they are herbivores, so they mostly eat grass and leaves. Now, we don't have animals that hibernate here in Africa, in this part of Africa at least. It's too hot. So during our winter months, where it does get quite chilly, but it's very, very dry and there's not a lot of water, and tortoises need a lot of water. So what they do is estivate. So it's the African version of hibernation. Hibernation is due to cold, whereas estivation is due to lack of food and water. So they will actually dig themselves a little hole in a big termite mound, and you can always find a tortoise's estivation hole because it's the perfect shape of his shell. And then he'll go in there probably next month or the month afterwards, and he'll sleep, lower his heart rate for a good 3 months, and he'll just sleep there. And then when the first rains come, off he goes again to go swimming and munching on grass and whatever else he might find. Oh, well done, guys. You are too clever. I'm going to have to think of a harder question for you next time. You are all right. There is such a thing as a black leopard, sometimes also called a black panther. They are the same thing. Okay, I'm going to keep searching for leopards. In the meantime, let's go see what Steve's found in the sand.
We found some tracks. And Brent's talking about a black leopard. We found tracks of a male leopard. We're now back in the block. We're going to cut through this block here, see if those tracks come out on the other side. Very good chance he's maybe headed towards either some shade or towards the dam, towards the waterhole to drink. So when you're talking about animals and living and non-living organisms, how does the leopard interact with its environment? It needs food. They eat meat. They need shade as well, because it gets very hot here in the savanna biome. And I call it the savanna because there's trees and there's grass, and this is the ideal habitat for a leopard. And by the way he's moving directly through here, he's probably going towards either the waterhole to drink or to look for an animal that's moving towards the water point to drink. Chloe and Mallory, how close have I ever gotten to an animal? Probably about this close. That's very close, eh? These animals are wild, so we try not to get too close to them on foot on foot, we're always looking. We're seeing where they're going to be. If a leopard sees us, it's going to stick its head up. We're going to see it from maybe 30, 40 yards away, and then we can back away and call in Brent. He can come and get much closer with the vehicle. They are actually quite afraid of us. They've seen humans on foot in the savannah for millions of years, and they've learnt that we are very, very... What was that? Did you hear that? Or is that just me? I thought I heard an elephant. Okay, so someone who's already made it to a dam. We're going to see if we can find what's going on here. Let's go back up to James Hendry, who's at Chitwa Waterhole.
We have just seen the most amazing thing. Unfortunately, it happened so fast. It was a bird called a darter eating a fish. And let's just watch out for him. He might pop up. There he is.
Yeah.
Now, this very special bird, watch, he swims under the water, not like a duck. Let's see if he doesn't catch another fish. He caught it so quickly and then swallowed it. It was huge. Maybe he'll be full now and he'll have to come and sit up on this little tree. There he goes. Now you can see why sometimes this darter is called the snake bird. Those are hippos you can see there. Lots of hippos here, and that's what was making that noise. Let's keep watching and see if he doesn't pop out of the water with another big fish. He's a very good fisherman, obviously. I think he's going to get out of the water now and have a little bit of rest. See, there he goes. Now, you might wonder to yourself, how is it that he is able to sink like that when a duck floats? And quite interestingly, his feathers, I don't know if you've ever heard the expression water off a duck's back. You'll learn that in English at some stage. And what it means is that water, if you pour water on a duck, it just flows off the duck. It doesn't soak into the feathers. And that's because the duck's got lots of oil. Here he comes. He's coming out the water. It's because the duck has got a lot of... Look at the hippo watching the bird. Look at that. I'll tell you about the feathers just now. See? Those big hippos are afraid of that small bird. Xavier, you're wondering how long those hippos will live for. About 45 years, we think. 35 years, sorry. 35 years is about the average length. So quickly, you can see there that his feathers are soaked. Absolutely soaked through. Most birds don't do that because their feathers are covered in oil. But the darter, because he likes to swim under the water, allows his feathers to become soaked. And so now, if he tried to fly, he would really struggle. So he's going to have to come and sit out on this tree and hold his wings out. And in fact, I can show you what that will look like. Just across this waterhole is another darter, quite far away, but sitting with his wings wide open. Can you see this? There we are. So that's what this darter here is going to have to do. In fact, he started doing it. We don't even need to look at that one so far away. Sorry about that. This one has started to hold his wings out so that he can dry them off. Isn't that cool? There we go. And so the sun will dry his wings, and then if he needs to fly, he can. But right now, he'll really struggle to fly. But he doesn't need to get in the water anymore. He had a big fish for his tea. Lily, we have so many birds here. You can't believe how many birds we have here. We have got more than 250 species of bird. That means 250 different kinds of birds. And there are lots of each kind of bird. So, oh well, I mean, there are not so many darters. But we've got lots of Egyptian geese. That's what you're looking at there. And then we've got lots of eagles and vultures and sunbirds and bee-eaters and weavers and drongos and rollers and doves and what else do we have? Plovers and lapwings and sparrows and canaries and waxbills and cuckoos and widers. There's just so many birds. I can't even begin to show you all of them. Those are Egyptian geese that you're looking at there, and they're very common around the water. They tend to be always looking for sort of greenish water vegetation to eat. They don't eat fish. Right, now that little group of hippopotami over there are mostly young ones. And they don't look like they're eating very much, and that's because they're not. And unlike that darter, they are safe, or the fish are safe around them, unlike when the darter gets in the water. And Adelina, you want to know what they eat? Well, Adelina, they eat grass. There's no grass in the water, so if there is water vegetation, sometimes they eat that. But in the night, as soon as it gets dark, they'll jump out of the water and come and eat grass outside. Sorry, what was that question? Oh, there's an oxpecker. That's a very special bird that eats ticks. Look. Oh, and Jake, you're wondering if they'll eat birds. No, Jake, they don't eat birds. Look at that oxpecker's having a drink. He's using the hippo as an island. Isn't that cool? And now he's cleaning his beak. And soon, he's probably going to try and feed himself. Look at the little baby hippo. So that'll be a mum and her youngster, or her baby. And you can see they like to be almost completely under the water. They don't want to be too close or too exposed, because they get sunburned and they feel unsafe. Got a whole lot of very small birds there, Seb, just on the edge of the water. Let's have a look at those. I think that those are grey-headed sparrows. There we go, they're all flying away now, up into the tree. Yes, is that a sparrow? No, I don't believe it is, actually. I think it's an indigo bird. That's quite special. Let me have a look with my binoculars. No, it is a sparrow. It's just sitting in some shade. They're all sparrows on this tree. Alrighty, let's go back across to Brent Leo Smith now. I'm sure he's got lots of interesting questions to ask you.
Oh, that I do, because the black leopard was obviously too easy. Okay, let's think of a tough one for you now. What is the tallest animal in the world? What is the tallest animal in the world? I think that's a good one. So we found no sign of a leopard around that little waterhole, so we're keeping moving. Oh, hello, Nolan. Nolan, there's no gas station here. What we do is once a week we send a car into town. Our closest town is about 70 or 80 kilometers away. It's called Hoedspruit. It is no means a city. It is definitely a town, very, very small. And the closest city to us is probably Nelspruit, and that's probably a 3.5 hour drive away from here. So we bring our fuel in once a week, and our food also comes in once a week from town. So no gas station close by. We're in the bush, Nolan, in the bush. Hello, Dominique and Charlotte. I love my job on safari. I get to see all the coolest animals every day. I get to walk around leopards. I get to walk with elephants. I get to spend my time with all the amazing animals in the African bush. So yes, I do love my job. Okay. Now, we're moving away from looking for a male leopard. I'm now moving to an area where there's a female leopard with a baby. So I'm hoping we'll see some footprints of her. And because it's so hot at the moment, I'm checking all the water holes to see if they maybe haven't come for a drink while it's hot. Wow. Central Elementary, you're too clever. Too clever. You are right. A giraffe is the tallest animal in the world, and hopefully we're going to see one on this safari. Sure, I thought I'd catch you out there for sure. Okay. Now I'm going to have to think of a tougher quiz for you guys. So while I think hard about what to ask you next, let's go back to James, who's at the biggest waterhole in the area.
Yes, and we're still sitting with our hippopotamus here, but they're not the only ones here. Way at the other side, we've got some bushbuck. There they are. And they're a different kind of antelope, just a little bit smaller than the impala. Aren't they lovely? And they're eating grass, and look who they're eating with. They're eating with the Egyptian goose. And that's a mum and her baby. The baby's not so young anymore, probably about, 6 months, half a year, maybe a little bit more, maybe even a year old. And if you're an antelope, a year old is quite old. Well, it's not old, but it's nearly adult. Isn't that nice? And in fact, you know what, I said they were eating the same thing. They're not eating the same thing at all. That was rubbish. The Egyptian goose is eating grass and grass seeds, but those bushbuck are eating plants, but they're not grass plants. So they're eating flowers and other kinds of leaves. Let's have one last look at these hippo here, because I think they're having a bit of a play, and then I think we'll move from here and see what else we can find for you. I was hoping an elephant or two might come down to drink here, but that hasn't happened just yet. Tayana, you're wondering if hippopotamus give birth in the water. They do. They will find like a sort of shallow spot where the baby will not find it too difficult to stand on the bottom, if the baby has to. And then they will give birth there. And sometimes they'll get out of the water and go to a sort of puddle rather than, a deep water hole like this to give birth. But they do give birth in the water, yes. Because it's a nice safe place for the babies to be. Most babies out here are very vulnerable, you see. So something like a lion or a whole group of lions, if they saw a baby hippo, they would think, there's dinner. And they would go and try and eat it. And that's why the water is a good place for baby hippos to be born, because, lions don't really like to swim at all. And when they do swim, they're not very good swimmers. Anna, that's a very interesting question. I know we haven't found you any lions today, but maybe we can try a bit later. You say, are boy lion cubs born with manes? Well, you need to ask yourself, if you look around the classroom where you're sitting, are any of the boys in your classroom, do any of them have manes? Or beards? Do any of them have beards? No, they don't. And that's because they're too young. And it's the same with lions. So boy lion cubs and male human beings are the same. Only when they become older do they get manes, and the mane is the same as a beard on a human man. So you only get your beard or your mane when you're a bit older. It's exactly the same with lions and people. Alrighty, I think let's move on from here. See what else we can find as we drive along. And while we do that, let's go across to Steve. He is on foot, which means maybe he can find something very small and interesting to show you.
Well, we are still busy tracking. The tracks of that male leopard have come all the way down across one of the dirt roads. So now we're just sort of moving straight through here. The water hole is directly down at the bottom here. You can see sort of the depression in the land here. Obvious place for water to accumulate, and if a leopard's going to go, it's going to go straight down there. So we're going to keep walking down. It gets very difficult in the block here to see tracks, so we're looking for sort of more sandy, open areas. I can show you over here how difficult it is really on the ground. Now this is me with a really big shoe. Look, if I put that there, that's all you got to look at. And a leopard is just going to touch the ground, just like that. And we're looking for very small signs on the ground, but don't worry, we've got Herbie, who's with us, who's just over there. He can probably smell the leopard. He's following it with his nose. It's very exciting. It's always very exciting to find a leopard on foot. And we're thinking it's Tingana, who's the old territorial male of this area, by the track, and I'll try and find you one. We're just trying to catch up with him. We find a nice track. I'll show you exactly what it looks like. Male leopard's got a really big paw print compared to female. And they love to come up to these termite mounds. Gets them a bit of elevation, come up on the termite mound, and they look down, and they go up a big tree like this. They look down for whatever food they might be looking for. So those are the signs that we're looking for. Okay, so we're going to continue on here. We're being very quiet because we might see a leopard very soon. While we do that, let's go over to Brent, who's driving around.
Okay, I've got one for you guys. I think I'm going to catch you out. I might not. So, what bird can fly the highest? I think I've got you there. What bird can fly the highest? Ooh, you know what? When we're out on safari, sometimes we get a little bit hungry. So, there's lots of different little spots we can get snacks from. Now, while I walk to get my snack, hello Speedy. Speedy, yes, there are zebras here. So the zebras move between different areas depending on what food's available. So the zebras will spend a lot of time here during the winter, but they are not here at the moment. Then we might get lucky, there are a few around. Now, this tree is called a buffalo thorn, and it's a very important tree. It's one of our few evergreen trees we get out here. So evergreen means it stays green all year round. Now, from a people point of view, it's good because you got to be careful. It's got very sharp thorns, and it's got very sharp thorns because lots of animals eat it. Giraffe like it, elephant like it, and a lot of different antelope species like it. But human beings can also eat it. But you want to get the young leaves, you don't want to get the old leaves. Young leaves are much nicer. Now, this is my salad, and unfortunately when out here, I only really get salad and dessert. So the fruit as well is edible and quite popular. And I'm actually quite lucky to get, I get two, because the birds and the other animals, do you want one, Sense? Oopsie, you didn't see the fruit? I'll put them on the dash where it's easier to see. So the birds and the monkeys and the other animals often get there before human beings. So here we go, that's the little fruit. Now they're quite nice, they're like little sweets. So I'm going to eat one. Yum, 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 yum. Hopefully there's no worms in it. Sometimes there are worms in them, so you've got to take a chance. So I said sometimes there could be a worm in it, so are we ready to take the chance? I think so. Yum. Very sweet, very nice, no worms, didn't go crunch, but there's not a lot of meat on this fruit. I'll show you now. So even though they're nice and sweet, you can see they're mostly seed. Here we go. That's it. I'm going to have to go look for something else to eat while I'm looking for leopards. Eat the other one. Oh, there you lost it. More like a sucking sweet, I suppose, if you want to make it last. I say there's not a lot of meat on it, or fruit pulp on it. Oh, that one's not a good one. Poof, poof. Yuck. Well, I've managed to catch you guys out. It is not the bald eagle. That could possibly be the highest flying bird in America, but even then, I think some of the turkey vultures might go higher. The highest recorded bird is a bird called a Cape vulture, which is from Africa, and it has been recorded at the same height as jumbo jets, 32,000 feet in the air. Isn't that amazing? Okay, now at the moment, I can't find any animals, but my friend James has found you some beautiful antelope.
We've got very lucky with three baby waterbuck. And they're just behind one of them's just behind the mum. There's the third one there. Aren't they sweet? They're tiny little things. They look like very small donkeys, actually. But they aren't donkeys, of course. They are little waterbuck. And they're called waterbuck because normally they live around the water. Carly, you like horses, don't you? I also like horses. I used to ride horses. And you say, are there any wild horses around here? No, horses naturally come from the steppes of Asia, which you'll learn about at some stage during your lives. And then they were imported to the United States. I'm not sure when exactly. And then some of them went wild in the United States. So that's when an animal that has been domesticated, in other words, an animal that is tame, then goes wild, we call it feral. And so much like you get one or two herds of feral horses in the United States, so you do the same in a place called Namibia, which is quite near South Africa, and they live as wild horses used to. If that makes sense to you. And so there are no wild horses. The African equivalent, of course, of a wild horse is a zebra. A zebra, a very important animal out here, of course. A very common animal also. I'm surprised we haven't seen one for you, but there are lots and lots of zebras in Africa, and you can't ride them like you can normal horses. But they are what we call, and this is quite a big concept for you, the ecological equivalent. So they eat like horses, they behave like horses, they have the same social structure as horses. Right, let's go a little bit forward, see if we can get another view of our very cute little waterbucks. Oh, it's a hot afternoon today. It's about 90 degrees. There we go. Isn't that beautiful? All right, Steve, who is looking for some interesting predators, is at a waterhole.
I've got some impala just in the bushes over there. This is directly that direction that we were coming with the tracks of a leopard. Now the impala that are in there, they're making a lot of noise. We're going to go in there and see what we can see. It's very exciting. The waterhole's just here on the left-hand side. Animals come down to drink this, so this is where your leopards like to come and ambush. We did walk along the path here, but we didn't get any tracks coming across. But it's possible he doubled around and he's come through sort of this thick drainage section over here. Okay, well, we're going to keep trying. Get in here a little bit, see if we can find anything. And while we do that, let's go to James. He's got a very special bird.
This is a special bird, and it's a bird, in fact, that you will find a very similar version of in the United States, and it's called a woodpecker. Let's see if we can watch it peck. It's called a bearded woodpecker, this one, I think. Oh, no, it's not. I think it was smaller than a bearded woodpecker. Probably a cardinal woodpecker, in fact. Anyway, he's gone now. And the woodpeckers we get here in South Africa are much smaller than the woodpeckers you get there in the United States. There, they're much bigger. And they live in those big pine forests, I think. Anyway, he's gone now. Well, let's look here, Jacob. There are the waterbuck. And you say, why do they have a circle on their bottoms? Well, this should give you the answer. Can you see how that white color is the easiest color to see? And so if those babies want to find their mothers when they're moving away from something, or when it's difficult to see above the grass, then they will look for that white circle, and they will find it easy to follow each other. So it's what we call a following mechanism. Okay, it's called a following mechanism. There they go. So if they wanted to catch up with each other, or if a predator decided to chase them, then they would use that little round white circle in order to follow each other. Alrighty, let's leave those water back. See what else we can find along here. Greg, you're wondering about hyenas, and if there are hyenas here. There are plenty of hyenas here, but normally they only come out at night. All I can try and do is try and find you a footprint or track of a hyena. And normally they're very easy to find, because the hyenas walk along the roads in the night time. And they walk along the roads because it's just easier. For the same reason that we drive along the roads and not off them. Just looking around here. Alrighty, let's go back across to Brent. I think he's having a walk now. No, he's not. He's driving.
Yes, we're having some trouble finding us some animals, but we are looking for the hardest animal to spot, the leopard. So one of the hardest animals to spot. Ooh, if it sits nicely. No, where's it gone? Oh, what's that noise? Ah, I hear a go-away bird. Yes, there is such a thing as a go-away bird. I'll see if I can find it for you. Oh, Carly, you are talking about my favorite animal. My favorite animal is the African wild dog. We do get them, but they move very quickly and they need a very big area. They have to have, each group of wild dogs has to have about 120,000 acres of space. So they do come through, because there are no fences here between us and the other game reserves and national parks. Now I can hear the go-away bird, but I can't see it. Now it's obviously called a go-away bird because it goes, go-away, go-away. There it is. He's calling from over there in that acacia tree at the back there, Sens. I just can't get a good view of it. It's somewhere, you got it? It's somewhere in that tree at the back. And let's maybe move forward, see if we can spot it from a different angle. Now, I'll show you what they look like while we're waiting to see if I can see that one. I think it might be a bit too far for you guys to hear as well. So what I'll do is I'll show you what a go-away bird looks like, and I'll play its call for you. There we go. Go away! Go away! Go away! Go away! Okay. That is what the grey go-away bird looks like. Go away! Oh, our camera, there we go. That is the grey go-away bird. And let's see if we can hear it a bit better here. So you can hear it saying, go away! Go away! Very cool call. Sometimes they can be very annoying when they sit outside your window and go away! There's two calling them. There we go. So they're very, very cool call. Now, they're quite a common bird. Hopefully I'll be able to find one that's not so far away from the road for you. There we go, the grey go-away bird. Now, they are one of the birds that if you want to eat any fruit out in the bush like I was doing, you've got to compete with, because they really love fruit. So you can get lots of go-away birds around fruiting trees. So there we go, Jake. They eat lots of fruit, is what they mostly eat. Fruit and the odd insect. Now, when you see me hang my head over like that, I'm looking for leopard tracks. Don't worry, I won't fall out of the car. But those are not fresh leopard tracks. Those are from a couple of days ago, and you can't really see them clearly. So we're back next to a little river system here. Paxton, the biggest predator we get here, is a male lion, and they are by far the biggest predator we get out here. They weigh over 400 pounds, a big male lion, and they can have lots of different prides that they're in control of. Normally the lions here, the males are in coalitions, so a group of 4 or 5 who will control a big area. Now, it is one of my favorite calls in the world, and when I was little, because I lived in the bush from when I was very little, so I heard something. Oxpeckers. There might be some buffalo over there. I'm going to go there next. Now, it was one of the favorite calls when I was little, and my dad taught me about lions from when I was about 3 or 4 years old. I've been learning about all the stuff in the bush, which plants you can eat, which ones you can't. And when I was asked my dad when I was little, I said, "Dad, why do lions roar?" Now, he explained it to me in a very good way that I could understand when I was little. And he says, well, a male lion, when he's calling, what he says, he goes, "Whose land is it? Whose land is it? Whose land is it? It's mine, it's mine, it's mine." So when a male lion roars, he's telling all the other lions that this is his place, and if they come here, he's going to chase them off. Of course, he doesn't really say whose land is it. It sounds more like this. That's what a lion call sounds like, more or less. Now, unfortunately, our lions have gone visiting our neighbors. As I said, there's no fences between us and the other reserves, so the lions can go where they want. But you never know, a lion could have easily come onto the property. Hi, Abby. Abby, lions eat meat. They are the biggest carnivore here. They eat buffalo, they eat giraffe, they eat impala, waterbuck, zebra, wildebeest, inyala, any meat that they can catch, Abby. Normally quite big meat. Their favorite thing to eat here is buffalo. And I think there might be a buffalo over there. I heard some oxpeckers around a little waterhole. And oxpeckers are little birds. I think you saw one on a hippo with James a little bit earlier. So they generally like big animals like giraffe or buffalo. And so they eat all the ticks and stuff like that. And so when I hear oxpeckers, it's always good to go have a look. There might be something big and exciting there. Nolan, yes, we do. We live on the reserve. We don't camp. We have rooms. We have a camp, and we call it a camp, but it is made out of bricks and things like that. But yes, we live here. And it is nice because when we go to bed at night, we get to hear the lions calling and the hyenas calling, and it's coming to the end of your drive. And I'm so sorry I couldn't find you a leopard. You're going to have to come back, because I can't let you not see a leopard or a lion. You're going to have to come back and join us. So Central Elementary, it's been wonderful, and I'm going to give you a hyena goodbye. So how would you do a hyena say goodbye? Sens, what do you think? So I'll just give you a hyena whoop to say goodbye. How's that? Woo, whoop. And for those staying, we're going to send you across to Steve on foot.
Thank you very much, Brent, and welcome back to all of you regular viewers who've probably been watching the entire time. We don't know what's going on. The alarm calling the impala. With this side, we're in the dry river system right now, as you can see. Just like that. But we're going to keep checking. There's a few pans just down here. From us, we're going to keep looking and seeing what materializes itself. It's a beautiful area for a cat to be walking. And we're thinking it might be Hosana, but it's a male leopard. That's all we know. I think Herbie wants me to go back up this way. Up there, Herbie? Okay, we'll go up this way. Can we get up here, Davy? You should be able to. This is where you need to engage four-wheel drive. Come out onto the other side and see what sort of activity has come through. Oh, this is a little bit thick. That's what I like about bushwalks, is we get to find really interesting areas that you wouldn't necessarily get with the car. Am I making all of the next to the dry river system, though, it's very, very thick bush. Okay, well, while we try and navigate through this thick jungle, we seem to be losing some signal. But let's go back over to James, see what his plans are on Chitwa.
We too are navigating our way through a jungle. We've just come to the back of the Chitwa Dam to see if we can't find sign of a leopard, but we cannot. We can smell elephants. There's been plenty of elephants around here. Oh, now, thank you very much, Donna, for asking about our results in the Webby Awards and whether or not we succeeded in winning. Or basically, if we succeeded in telling you to vote for us enough. We did. In 2 categories, we won, which is fantastic. I actually don't know what those categories were called. But we lost out in the one category, I think it was the animal category, to the goat sanctuary that looks after injured goats, and the basset hound, who goes on holiday and posts them on Instagram. Tingana and Hosana, the Nkuhuma Pride, Fang the elephant, Tundi and her cub, they lost out to a basset hound and a couple of goats. But we did win in two categories. I'm not sure what that means. I was rather hoping for a red carpet event hosted by none other than Scarlett Johansson, presided over, or with awards being handed out by Sir David Attenborough, and of course long speeches made by all of us involved, that sort of sitting in the crowd pretending you don't know you're going to win, and then you go, and then we could go up to the stage and say thank you, and say thanks to our mothers and to all of those people who believed in us, etc., when everyone else said we were mad. I am, of course, pretending to be Graham Wallington because all of those things do apply to him, although he may actually be mad. Oh, Agrifuss, you say, what is this? Is this live? Well, if you look to the bottom left-hand side or right-hand side, is it left or right? I'm not sure of the feed that you're watching on YouTube. You will see there that it says the words live, which means, of course, that we are live. This is completely live, and it is a live safari being broadcast to you from the Greater Kruger National Park in South Africa. There are some hippopotamus, which you may look at. Agri-Fuzz, I'm sure you like hippopotamus. Everybody likes hippopotamus. And if you would like to just recheck for yourself, Agri-Fuzz, you can ask me a question. There go the Egyptian geese. So if you would like to know anything about those hippos or those Egyptian geese, or anything else that we do, Agri-Fuzz, you can ask me now. And I will do my best to answer your question. Young hippos there, walking around on a little island. some Egyptian geese having a bit of a spat. Egyptian geese don't like each other very much. In fact, that is the least social Egyptian geese I've ever seen. So AgriFuzz, we are completely live, and we do this twice a day, every day. Sometimes we even do it from the Masai Mara. 2 locations in Africa. And you can learn all about the magnificent characters that we have here if you watch every day, or you can watch our Saturday show at 4 p.m. CAT, is Central African Time, and get a little bit of a... Well, that's just what I was saying, AgriFuzz. With your next question, you say, who are Tingana and Tundi? Why the names? Well, if you watch our catch-up show called Safari Lives on Saturday afternoons at 4 o'clock Central African Time, you'll find out. They are our leopard characters. Tingana's an old male, kind of losing out on his territory to a younger, more virile fellow. And then Tundi and her cub are 2 of our very favourites. Tundi's a leopardess, aged 11, and her cub, Tlalamba, is just over 6 months old now. And so they're quite fun to watch. We've watched that little cub grow from the time she was born, basically. We've also watched another leopard called Hosana, who's now 2 years old. We've watched him from the day he was born on the 3rd of February in 2016. So, AgriFuzz, I hope that you are now going to be a firm and favourite viewer and will continue to watch this show with a fervour that would be brought to any other such magnificent thing. There we have an egret. Looks like a great white egret. And if I'm not mistaken, just beyond it you might see the scales of a crocodile coming up every so often, maybe. And definitely some hippo behind it, but just in that sort of rippling water I thought I saw the scales of a crocodile rising up. Lovely, lovely autumnal afternoon, although it feels a little bit like summer at 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Big Chief Sitting Bull, thank you very much for getting hold of us again. I've had one other question from you. I'm going to make one more reference to the little bighorn, and then I shall desist from doing that. Well done on your victory. You want to know how I am faring after my swim this morning? It wasn't so much a swim as a wade. I waded across some water. I would never swim in a waterhole like this. I would almost certainly be nailed by a crocodile. Oh, and Sitting Bull, you want to know if I got paid for my swim. Well, in case you weren't watching this morning, everybody, and AgriFuzz, you wouldn't have been, 2 people offered me money to wade across a fairly murky waterhole, and I will do just about anything for money. And so I said yes, and I walked across it, and I have not been paid yet. No, I haven't. Sitting Bull, I'm not sure how I am going to be paid, given the different parts of the world that the paymasters live. And Wendy Ma, you say, have I at least had a shower after my paddle today? I have, Wendy, thank you. I have had a shower. I had a shower just before I came on drive, which means that water that I walked through was on my leggies until, well, fairly recently. Made me feel quite nice, actually, like a deep spa cleanse on my legs. Okay, let's carry on. Now, let's go back to Brent and see if he has had any more luck. We're going to try and get our eye in the sky in the air and see if we can't spot anything from there.
We have had some luck. I found some male leopard tracks. I think it's the same ones that Herbie and Steve were following, but further on. They head up towards Nyala Road South, so I'm looping around the block to go have a look to see if we've got any luck in that area. Okay, now as you've heard now, we have proudly taken 2 Webby Awards. So everyone give it, all those who voted, give yourself a round of applause. Yay! Oh, yay, I'm going to crash! No, I'm not. Okay. Of course, as you know, the Sabi Sands Game Reserve is made up of quite a few different game reserves. So Clifford, the Sabi Sands Game Reserve itself is made up of multiple reserves, and the ones that border us are Arethusa, Sibambili, I'm trying to think now, Nkoro, Torchwood. Further to the west, Elephant Plains, you've got Singita, Londolozi, Malamala, Sabi, Nottons. So there's a lot of private game reserves around here. To the north is Manyeleti, which is a state-owned reserve. And to the east is the Kruger National Park. So we're completely surrounded, apart from the top northwestern corner of Djuma, by other reserves. Now, what flew in there? It's off it goes again. It was a go away bird. And so now I'm in a... yes, I like this part. You just turn the car off and we freewheel, hoping to hear any sound of alarm calls. All we hear is the squeak of dusty brakes. But it's still a lot better for us to hear any possible alarm calls. So the last tracks we had were crossing the Marti down here. And I'm hoping that we're going to find some fresh tracks of Tingana in the area. And hopefully Tandi and Tlalamba. You never know. I've checked Pan in that area, but it sounds like Steve is thinking about covering himself in mud.
I'm not covering myself in mud. Brent, we have come down though to one of these sort of prolific pans that we find in and around the Milwaukee drainage system. This one being just on sort of the western side of the drainage. And this is an area where you come and look for activity. This is where you might find leopards hiding in the shallows or in the shade. There are some nice tracks up where Dave is right now. We'll get to them in a moment. But these waterholes are instrumental in the territories of a certain species of animal we do find all out throughout the Kruger National Park. They are endangered. They are at high risk of being poached. Some nice tracks just over here of it looks like quite a small rhinoceros. You can have a look here in the mud. Here is one toe. The outer, should have said the left, or the rightest out toe, and the big toe there. Not a very big track. That is a small animal. Here is the other foot, the front foot. And what's very, very important in the territories of these animals is mud wallows. Males will actually defend territories and have a number of these mud wallows in their territory because it attracts the females that like to go and give themselves a mud bath. Mandini and Kaya, how do we age this track? It's quite difficult. Got some Franklin's alarming over there. It's quite difficult because of the mud. Where I've just stepped my foot here now, you can see that I've left quite nice fresh tracks, but because it's in mud, it's difficult to age. What we look for when we're looking out on the sand or on the sort of more mobile paths, we get more animals, is freshness is obviously with color. You get a color in the track. If I look over here, you can see where we've been standing. The color there is a little bit darker than over here. Now, if I had to scratch that over there, you'll see the difference in the color versus here. So that color will start to fade as it gets more exposed to the elements. And it is definitely just a thing of practice and practice and practice. Obviously, when we look at leopard tracks, leopards often move in the early morning or late at night. If you get nocturnal animals on top of those tracks, you know that that animal moved sort of in the early morning. There were still nocturnal animals moving. But if you got a diurnal animal, a dove or a francolin on top of that track, then you know it was earlier in the morning rather than early. So probably about sunrise sort of time. And then as that starts to change, these are the things you're looking for. Nocturnal activity versus diurnal activity. Color in the sand. Look at that versus that. Very fresh. And give that 20 minutes, half an hour, that's going to start to fade and go a bit more that colour. But we heard something alarming over there. We're going to go check it out. Where's Herbie? There he is. Go back this way. I think he might have found some tracks. So let's go back over to the herbs. So we're checking all these drainage sort of pockets, these little mud wallows in around the Mawati. We've come sort of further south from where we had those alarm calls. So without any fresh tracks here, we're probably going to get across the Mawati and see if we can find anything coming out on that side. But while we do that, we've had tracks of them. Brent's found them. Let's go over to him and his very tall giraffe.
Well, there we go. A very tall, big male giraffe feeding on what looks to be a knob thorn as next to a dead... Sorry, I'm just listening to Game Drive Radio for a second. So it is a big tall giraffe feeding on a knob thorn that is next to a dead leadwood. Now, this is exactly where I heard the oxpeckers from the other side of the river system when we were driving down Battalier Road. Now, that is incredible, because every time I watch giraffe feed on a knobthorn, I just think, how do they not rip their mouths open? There are so many incredibly sharp hooked thorns, and you can just see wraps his tongue around and pulls over the thorns just to get the leaves. Now, a knobthorn tree is got a very sophisticated defense when it comes to being fed on by giraffe or elephants. Now, in this area where we do actually have quite a few knobthorns, and I think this giraffe has been feeding around here for a while, so he gets like 2 bites and he's got to move on because of their chemical defense. So they release chemicals into the air, and all the knobthorns in the area will pick up on that and release tannins, making those leaves incredibly bitter. Have you spotted a leopard? Come spot a leopard for us, giraffe. And maybe it wasn't the tannins that had distracted the giraffe. Now, Nandini, you've got to be quite careful about what you read in the press about giraffe becoming extinct. Certain subspecies of giraffe are, yes, threatened, but our giraffe here, the southern giraffe, not threatened at all. Maasai giraffe are still in quite good numbers. It is only certain subspecies of giraffe like Rothschild and Thornycrofts and things like that that are becoming threatened in certain areas. But as a whole, giraffe are pretty stable, particularly the southern giraffe, between the large nature reserves of South Africa, Botswana, Zimbabwe, Namibia, and Mozambique. There's an incredibly large and healthy population of southern giraffe, and that's not even including all the ones that live on private reserves outside of the greater Kruger areas. So no, giraffe are in this area are certainly not endangered at all. Now, he's moved on to the next knobthorn tree. Now, what happens with quite a lot of the big animals, they are long-lived. So, Varun, a giraffe can live for about 30 years in the wild, and provided that they don't get tangled up with lions at a younger age. But yes, so they can live to about 30. There we go. Elegantly disappearing into the drainage system. Okay, well, we're going to not so elegantly trundle down the road, hoping to see more leopard tracks. Now, I wonder if Herbie and Steve have made their way to where we saw those leopard tracks. I hope so, because Bushwalk's been on fire when it comes to finding leopard at the moment.
That is what we're trying to do. And as we walked past this little Abutilon, which is the species or genus name of this wonderful plant, we have found ourselves a ballista beetle, which is giving off the black and yellow colors of aposematic. If I had to ingest that guy, it would blister me inside. I would actually die. It's called a blister beetle, and it absorbs, or it has a chemical inside it called cantharidin. And when you disturb that beetle, I mean, I could put it on my finger, it would be fine, but if I disturbed him in any way, he would release that cantharidin onto my skin, and it would cause my skin to form these huge welts and blisters. It's not very sore, but it can spread. It can look really, really gross and disgusting, and that is obviously a mechanism of it protecting itself from being eaten. A bird avoids it, maybe not the first time, because the trick with aposematic coloration is it doesn't always work. An animal has to learn that the black and the contrasting yellow are poisonous, and they will probably learn the first time, ooh, that was very distasteful, and spit it out. But if we had to ingest that, it would lead to our death. He's busy munching on that flower. Is that quite marvelous? Busy pollinating it at the same time. So very important pollinating agent out here. Bianca, it is very, very pretty beetle, but when you disturb one of them, it's not the prettiest of things on your skin. I've had them on my shin before and on my arm, and the trick is if you get that blister, you need to put it under running water, and when you pop it, you wash it all out with very cold, fast running water. You don't want to just pop it because it spreads, it just gets bigger and bigger and starts growing in your arm. It can be quite revolting. I've seen people, ooh, look at that. Angie, you want to know how many venomous insects? So venom, this is a poisonous, eh? He's poisonous. If you eat him, it'll die. It's not going to, it's not about venom. Venom is something you envenomate like a snake or a spider. So there are 6 locally common venomous spiders, and then there's the centipede. So the black button spider, the brown button spider. The black button is also known as the black widow, and we've also got the sac spider, the 6-eyed desert crab spider, and violin spider, and then there's one more that I am missing. But the centipede has got venom, and then we can also classify scorpions as venomous, and many of them around. 3 or 4 of them are very, very potent. The thick-tailed, Transvaal thick-tailed scorpion, the Mozambican thick-tailed scorpion, and we also get a few sort of Europlectes. I don't know the common name. I think they're just called the striped scorpions, and there's a few of them around. Taylor got nailed by one about a month and a half ago while we were watching a movie, and I think James found one in his bed. So they are around, but if you leave them alone, they generally leave you alone. So that is the way it works. Any luck there, Herbs? Ooh, there we go. So these are some tracks that we're looking for, but Herbie's saying that these are from yesterday. So we wanted to talk earlier about freshness. You can see the color of this track has kind of faded a little bit. If I do this next to it, look at the color of that versus that. So that is fresh, that is from yesterday. If I just damage it inside there, you'll see the color comes back again. So now we have a very fresh leopard track, just a little bit of brushing, paint brushing, air brushing. And this is the Milwati drainage system. Very, very important area where we've had Tandi and her cub. We've had Ukumuri coming through here. We've had Hosana coming through here. We know Tingana was here just the other day. The other day, James and Herbie bumped him just back there on foot. So we're hoping that we're going to find a leopard for you this afternoon. We're not sure who it's going to be. I don't really care who it is. It could be anyone. So we're trying very hard, and as Brent says, we are on fire on the bushwalk team normally with leopards. Let's go see how Brent is doing in his search.
Well, I'm going to let the bushwalk team work that area, because I've just got a report of a big herd of elephants crossing right into the top corner of Djuma, and I haven't seen elephants in about, 10 days. So I'm going to try get there. Unfortunately, we were quite far away when I heard about them, and they were crossing from Sibambili right across that tiny little top corner. I'm hoping that they'll still be milling about when we get there. Otherwise, let's hope the wild dogs arrive in that area, or the Nkuhuma pride, or Hokamuri, or Shidulu, or anything. But I feel like elephants. I haven't had some quality Ellie time in a while. One of the wonderful things about being out here every day, Coastsider, is that we are surprised by things on a regular basis out in the bush. Let me just try to think. One of the most surprising things is I saw 6 hyenas once kill an adult hippo. There's a suicidal squirrel, it's gone. So only 6 hyenas kill an adult male hippo before in Botswana. Lions hunting elephants, always incredible to watch and surprising, even though I've seen it more than once. There's just so many different things. From the tiny, we found a very rare spider with no records ever from this area on bushwalk not so long ago, called a hedgehog spider. So yes, yeah, we're constantly surprised, and that's one of the great joys of doing what we do. Oh, hold on, Zens, bumpity bump. Now, big bumps here. So I'm trying to get up to that far northwestern corner as quickly as possible without throwing Senzo off the car. Right. So unfortunately, for some reason Rebecca's breaking up. I just hear we are going to James.
I don't know exactly what my most surprising moment in the bush has been. I'll tell you one surprising moment though. We were in the Mara and we were spending the night out. David was on camera and we had parked ourselves near the Bilashaka marsh, quite near the governor's camp on the western side of the Mara River, eastern side of the Mara River. And we woke up. I woke up at about 4:30 in the morning. Just sort of and you look up. It was a beautiful full moonlit evening or morning, and there, running across the road right in front of us, was a hippopotamus, and 4 lions were mounted on its back. It was quite an astonishing thing to see as you opened your eyes, and it looked for all the world like they'd just hitched a ride there. There didn't seem to be much distress, there wasn't a noise, it was just these 4 large male lions hitching a ride on a hippopotamus. It was a very surprising thing to wake up to. It's not something most people wake up to every morning. In the end, the hippo did escape, because of course the lions were not just riding it, they were trying to eat it. Okay, a couple of signal issues here. Let's go across to the bushwalk.
Sorry about James's issues there, folks. With the vehicle, I mean, signal. Haven't found anything fresh at all, but did a big loop around from where we were earlier. And the Impala were over there. That's over where Tela Dam is, sort of directly below the sun. And if a leopard came through, we think it might have come in across the road. We're going to check the road here. If nothing, there's a good chance it's sitting inside the system over here. And if it is Hosana, we know him. He'll just lie there. He won't even lift his head up. He's a ridiculous cat. I love him to bits. He doesn't give us much warning. So you can walk right past him. You've almost got to stand in him for him to give you any form of reaction. Lisa, I have gotten lost before. And at the time I got lost was up in Makuleki and Pafuri, northern Kruger. I was only lost for a short period of time, but the problem was I knew where I needed to go. I needed to get there. There was a herd of buffalo between me and the vehicle that was parked on that side, so I didn't really get lost. I had to go all the way around the buffalo, and the guests were getting very concerned because you've actually walked from camp, and I got someone to leave the vehicle there, so we were walking in a straight line, and one of the guests, I think he was from Denmark, he started freaking out a bit because his GPS showed we were nowhere near from getting home. And it was getting dark and getting dark and getting dark. The sun was gone, and there were buffalo everywhere. And we finally got around and we found the vehicle, and he was like, oh, wow, okay, we made it. But the lesson there is, tell your guests you're walking in a straight line, not in a loop, because you don't know who's checking their GPS. So I wasn't lost, just running out of time, and they were freaking out. I don't actually get lost. Sometimes I'm temporarily disorientated for a short period, but never actually lost. Constantly checking where you're going, constantly checking where the sun is. Overcast days, though, that's when you can get a bit confused. And the best thing about walking is you get to learn all the time where you are. You're constantly alert to direction and slope and certain trees and termite mounds and all sorts of functions that will help you find your way home later on. Very, very important to be paying attention. The same reason is if we're walking here, if we happen to encounter a dangerous animal, I need to know what I've passed that is safe. For example, the termite mound or a drainage line or a big tree or a fallen stump. I need to know immediately, as soon as we encounter something that's potentially dangerous, how do I retreat back and what's the method of that? So constantly paying attention to surroundings, and that's why bushwalks are so great, because you're constantly alert, you're alive, like a wild animal. Gets the heart always racing. Even if you don't find something, the anticipation of being out here, walking through the long grass is always quite something. So those impala followed whatever it was into the system just over here. We're just sort of below the dam wall now itself. Herbie's just on the path up ahead having a look, any tracks crossed. Okay, well, while we try and make head or tail of where this leopard has possibly gone to, let's go back over to Brent, who I think is looking at his shadow. I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, a shadow? We're looking at a foot. And a long shadow of an animal we don't see too often. And there's a Cape Glossy starling trying to make use of the zebra. Now, it's a lone old male zebra, and shame. I think this guy's recently lost his harem. Look behind his ears there. Can we zoom tight in there? Look at that. He has been bitten badly. Now, that's almost certainly from another zebra. It's one of the areas they target when they bite each other and attack each other. So I think this stallion has lost his group of ladies, and he's now quite vulnerable because he's all on his own. He's got a couple of big bites on his body, and almost certainly from battling with another zebra. But hopefully he's the first of a wave coming down from the north, from the Gabbros. Now, Dale, it depends on how you look at things in terms of symbiotic relationships. You could say stable flies and all animals have a symbiotic relationship. They're parasites. They feed off the blood of all the different animals and give no benefit to them. But there are lots of different types of symbiotic relationships, of course. The three main ones being parasitism, mutualism, and commensalism. Now, parasitism, of course, is where one benefits and the other does not. Commensalism is where one benefits but the other is not harmed. And, of course, mutualism is where they both benefit. So, calling starlings and other birds following a herd of animals or a zebra through the grass, is it really a symbiotic relationship? Probably not. And well, I suppose if you stick to the definition, it is. The starlings are benefits and they're causing no harm to the zebra, and just disturbs different insects as it walks. And that's what they're following it for. Let me just try and move a little bit. Try and get a view of some of the other wounds he's got on the other side. In very similar spots. There we go, you can see there now. Quite a bad bite. They're not fresh. When I say this looks like a very old zebra. There you go, you can see another old bite mark. rubbed in mud or up against a tree at some point. Probably to try to get away from the flies. And you can see the flies irritating him. He's still in very good condition, looking quite well. So zebras always look fat because of their digestive system, their hindgut fermenters. But one of the telltale signs of a zebra when it starts losing a condition is its mane. So that short, spiky, upright mane will actually start lying down and not all sitting up straight like that. Now, there's always a chance he's just recuperating for a while, Bonnie. Oof, the flies are really irritating him. Before he goes on to try get another group of females, but he would have to fight another male. You get nothing for free out here. And as I say, I think he looks quite old, and he's been through the wars, and his time at the top might be over. And a lone zebra like this is a much easier target for a pride of lions than a group of zebras. And you just see the shadow of that tail going nuts. And you can just see the flies buzzing around his nose there. Shame, boy. Well, you're keeping them off me for now. Okay, let's try to see if there's any of those elephants still around. And we'll leave the lone zebra to ponder his last battle that lost him his girlfriends. Okay, so as you can see, we're heading west with aplomb, straight into the sun. Now, it was quite nice to see that the first decent zebra sighting I've had. I saw a couple sets of tracks crossing, and I saw another lone male down on quarantine a few days ago. Didn't look like the same one. It is nice to see a zebra again. Bobby, a lot of those diseases and stuff, Bobby wants to know if there are any brain diseases a zebra can get. Bobby, I'm sure there are. Of course, the most well-known brain disease in this area is rabies, and that infects the synovial spinal fluid and brain and mucus, causes inflammation of the brain, madness, hydrophobia, and eventually most animals die by actually snapping their own necks in contortions. But other than that, I can't really think of offhand any brain diseases. There are certain species of botfly during droughts that can sometimes get as far as the brain or the optic nerves, but that's not a disease, that's a parasite. So I'm not really sure, Bobby, apart from rabies, of course. Okay, come on, hopefully there'll still be a few elephants around. Aubrey says he thinks they might head into the Manuleti, but fingers crossed. Whee! Over the big bumps. Oh, there you go. Now, we're going to, as I say, try hopefully get a view of elephants. While we rush there, let's send you back across to James Henry.
We have got Skiliot there on the road, running down the road. Can you see them, Sebastian? There they are. Two little tree squirrels running on the road. Aren't they sweet? Yes, oh, they seem to be quite friendly with each other. And Pradeep, you're just 6 years old and you wanted to see squirrels today. I think you asked for that this morning. Well, there you go. Some little tree squirrels. We'll see if we can catch up with them for you. For the rest of you, we did try and fly. We did fly the little eye in the sky, but unfortunately we couldn't get a feed going from it. So it's just one of the hazards of being out here. It's quite difficult always to predict what's going to happen. There's the squirrel on the road, sitting up on his bottom, looking for danger. He's not going to see very much, I must say, because he's short. He'll use his tail as balance. But really very exposed out there. You can't even see where the nearest tree is, and that's why they're running on the road, because they cannot see what's going on off the road. The grass is so long. Pradeep, you are still watching, and you say, thank you so much, you're still watching. I'm very glad. We'll see if we can find them again for you. I wonder if they haven't gone into one of these trees where they can be a bit safer. Let's have a look up here. There they are. One on the road still. Let's see if he doesn't go up into the tree. No, he's a very brave or very stupid squirrel, one of the two, I'm not sure which. Let's keep going. It's not often that we follow squirrels down the road. Oh, apparently there's a problem with my sound. Let's go across the bushwalk.
Well, we don't seem to have any problems. I'm not sure what's going on with Jigger this afternoon, but we are still out. Come all the way around to where we were when we originally heard those impala calling, and we haven't given up. Maybe the impala weren't even calling at a cat. Maybe they were just the rutting that's going on. These male impala causing all of their trouble this time of year, but we were quite certain at the time. So we've come back to the beginning, to where we started. See if we can find those tracks of that cat from earlier. He was kind of heading in this direction. Hopefully he might come out. Did hear some wildebeest up at the top making a little bit of a noise. That's what I love about being out here, though, is that anything could happen. We could walk another 10-15 meters. There's the wildebeest. Walk another 10-15 meters and we can bump into anything. As the wildebeest materializes up there, there could be leopard lying now right here behind the bush. You never know what you're going to find on safari. It's always a good safe bet to have a look at the water points. Quite a few impala are down at the bottom there. Very, very relaxed. Very relaxed. So whatever the predator was that was around has either moved off completely or wasn't there in the first place, and they were just a bit spooked by something in the bushes. Maybe they saw us and they were worried, but it seemed as if they'd spotted something. But that's the way it goes. See, their heads are down, they're quite relaxed. Had heard of wildebeest from earlier, slowly making their way down to drink, just over here. But we've had Hosana before in this exact same situation, where the animals are all very relaxed around the dam, and then later on we hear the monkeys that I'm calling, and there he is. So we're having a proper little look around here. Proper little look. I don't know if you heard that. That was a clash of two male impala horns. It's not very obvious on my mic here. Can't really pick up. They're fighting just in front of the lodge over there. McLean, there used to be lots of migrations occurring between the Kruger Park and the sort of, what would you say, the Drakensberg to our west. But a veterinary fence was put up many, many years ago, I think in the 40s, 50s, to prevent the wildlife from mixing with the domestic cattle because of all the diseases. And that led to the eradication of the migration that the zebra and wildebeest used to do every single year. They go up to the Highveld, where the grasses are a lot longer and sour in the summer, and they'd come back down here for winter feeding, or vice versa. I do forget, it could have been the other way around. But the grass is definitely sweeter down here, so they would have moved in response to the rain. The Highveld gets a lot more rain than up here and down here, but the grasses would be regarded as more sour. So in the growing season they'd be quite tasty, but as it gets older in the year, the grass would have been a lot more less palatable, and they would have come down here to feed. I don't know what other animals would have moved. Elephants would have been constantly moving. Here we get a third male coming in from the side. Let's see if he's going to give someone a cheap shot. Now that's the proper fighting. There's no playing there. And the third one's coming in to have a look who's the stronger of the two. They'd all like to demarcate a small territory here close to the dam. The ladies are all watching on in anticipation for the winner, who will gain the rights to mating. They're hiding now. Just hear the wildebeest off to our left making that call. It's possible that that's us again that they're alarming at. But look at them, they're pushing each other all the way down. We're going to keep going and see if we can... Clearly there's no predator here. I think all the activity is just centered around the males who are fighting, causing all sorts of trouble with each other and the ladies. Okay, so Herbie's just up here, and that typical sort of... I'm not doing it very well. The alarm call of the wildebeest is aimed at him. He's got some tracks, I think. Let's cut him off over here. Robert, most difficult animal call that I can do. I don't know really. Why don't I just do a few of them? Wow! That's a baboon. It's a vervet monkey. Impala. Oxpeckers are calling here. They're taking off of the herd. It's a very important sound that they make because they're always on animals. So saved my life many times by hearing that because there's either buffalo or something. Here we can clearly see the wildebeest. And off they went. I'm not going to do a wildebeest again because that last attempt was hideously bad. That's a squirrel alarm call. Marvellous, eh? Or go away, bird. Well, let's go see if Brent's found his elephant and see what alarm call he is able to do very, very well.
The elephants have gone. By the time we got there, they were all in the Manuletti already, so unfortunately no sign of any ellies. Hopefully we'll find some more. So I'm going to do a little perusal along the western edges now that we're up in this area. Maybe Hukumuri decides to come back for an afternoon jaunt, or Shidulu comes back for an afternoon jaunt. We are getting into that golden light that we love to have leopards in, so hopefully we can produce one shortly. Hello Impalalas. They're also very pretty in late afternoon light. So let's have a look at the impalas in the golden light. Now, of course, stressful time for impalas during the rut. Males chasing females everywhere. Males chasing males. Leopards jumping on any opportunity they can grab. So it is very exciting to be here with the impala. Sometimes overlooked a little bit too often, but it's always great to spend some time with them. And you can see how the little boy's horns have already developed. What have you... Oh, there's a little puddle there that he's drinking out of. He's not putting his head in the sand because he's in an awkward teenage phase. He's having a drink. Now, it'll still be another 2 years before he'll think about competing in the rutting. Those little horns of his are not going to do much at the moment. Oh, here we go. Male charging in, sends. Now, is there another male that he's coming to challenge? So he's going to pop out there. There he is. Oh, is he just chasing females? I can hear him. There he comes. Oh. Apparently Steve's rutting sound and my rutting sound are different. No, it's... See, he even looked. He thought there was another male here. Causing havoc amongst the ladies. Disappearing. And we're going to do the same. For a second I was very confused there, Kia, when you said the horns resemble charcoal pencils, but I realized you're talking about the little boy, not the big boy. I suppose they do, not the charcoal pencils I've ever used, though. But maybe they do. I've never actually, normally I use actual charcoal rather than the pencil when I do sketches and stuff. I've been a bit naughty, I haven't done any sketches for a while. Busy working on a big project for our house when we finally move back into it, which is mostly actually paint more than charcoal. Get to make a mess. I think that's probably what I like about painting the most, the mess I can make. And paint with my hands, it's good fun. What did you see? Ah, apparently Senza did some sketching. Where are your sketches, Sense?
Rebecca has it.
Rebecca's got Senza sketches, apparently. Okay. Oh, it was a secret sketchbook. Sorry, Senza, you're not supposed to tell secrets out live on air. I don't even have my stick with him to reprimand him today. Oh, isn't that pretty? As I say, often overlooked, but they are absolutely... Oh, we've got some two males. Oh, chasing each other. Off they go. Well, he definitely won that one. The other guy just disappeared. So noisy. Now he's beating up a tree to show how tough he is. See him there? Let me move forward a bit. You can just see that. Right, and he stopped. He's trying to move forward. Has he stopped beating up the tree? Yes, he has. But let's have a look at the females in that lovely light. Oh, the grass just lights up at this time of the day. Magnificent. Okay, let's go find some hopeful kitty cats to put into the golden light as we check the western edges. Well, the rutting season is very short. March, April, maybe a little bit into May. So it is quite short. Now, of course, that's only here. In the Mara, the rutting season never ends because of the rainfall. They don't have to deal with a harsh dry season in the Mara, so they rut throughout the year. And that's why their horns are so much bigger. They're constantly producing testosterone to compete for the ladies. So you don't find as many bachelor groups. You find more bachelor groups throughout the year than you do here, where you only really get the very distinct bachelor groups at this time of the year during the rut, and come summertime, once the babies are born and stuff, they're all very, very, very much integrated. Now, an animal that doesn't rut because it mates all year, but there's constant competition between the boys, is with James.
He's right. There is a competition going on here. Unfortunately, the beastly creature just stepped behind the bush before you could come to us. Let's just go around here think the picture should be alright. It was okay here the other day. Oh, here we go. There we are. Alright, we're stopped now, so the picture should be fine. There is one Nyala bull with his mantle up, and believe it or not, he's having a roaring fight with the one on the left, whose mantle is always up. Is also up. Can't speak this afternoon. Now, the two of these Nyala are locked in, well, not quite mortal combat, but a very important combat for dominance. And they're trying to slow Tai Chi each other. And now the Tai Chi battle seems to be almost over as they start to browse again. Or perhaps that flickering of the mantle is a way of showing that it's still on. Of course, the camera is in precisely the wrong position because it can only get a clear shot of the space between the two Nyalas, which is rather irritating. But if I move, I think we'll lose picture. Well, that was quite a nice, brief Tai Chi fight between two Nyala bulls. Just see if it doesn't erupt again into that very exciting conflict. The tail's been lifted there. That's definitely a sign either that he's about to relieve himself or that things are about to hot up again. Francis, you're all the way in Israel, and you say you love it when they dance. I do too. I think it's fantastic. Rebecca, I'm going to try one move forward. It might result in some jumpy picture, but let's just see if we can't get a better picture of both of them together. Here's one. Is that right, Sid? Sorry about the aerial, I just don't want to move too much. Oh, you beastly fellow, you see, this is what they do. There's a squirrel chattering away, indicating some sense of distress. Now Fletcher, a good question from you about antlers versus horns, and you want to know if some of the animals here have antlers, or if they all have horns. They all have horns, Fletcher. We don't get any deer here in South Africa, but for those that have been introduced here. And there are a few, and I don't mean in this area, there are a few deer species that have been introduced to other parts of South Africa, and they, of course, have antlers. But all of the antelope species, there's a spider's web there, all of the antelope species have got horns. They don't have antlers. And so they remain with them permanently. It looks like there might be a leopard track here. No. Let's continue.
That's where we let him go.
Ah. Now, Dawn, as I answer your question, be aware that this is where Tingana was left this morning. And I know the bushwalk team has been in here, but Tingana hates being seen on foot. He walks off before you can get to him quite often. So it's not surprising that they didn't find him in here. Anyway, Dawn, you want to know what's the difference between a grazer and a browser? Well, a grazer eats grass and a browser eats leaves off of trees or herbaceous flowers. So that's the only difference. And certainly in some parts of the world they're used almost interchangeably. Alright, it would seem that Bentley Smith has managed to find another antelope. We will see if we can find what likes to eat the antelope.
Yes, we're quite antelope heavy this afternoon. Not so cat heavy. But we've got I'm sure we can only see 3, but I'm sure there's a few more around. Some lovely little male kudus and a female in the background, picking their way through some fallen trees, and obviously snacking on little shrubs that are growing out, using that fallen tree as protection. Hello, little boy. They're probably just over a year old, these guys. Oh, little shiver there. And of course, that's not a shiver from the cold. That is a little instinctive nerve reaction that most antelope and other animals, horses and cows also have, to try and keep flies off them. Yes, Kelly, almost all the animals here do get fleas, but the animals that are the most, not infected, I suppose, what's the word I'm looking for? Infested with fleas are your predators, and hyenas and wild dogs in particular, but lions, leopards, yes, all animals out here can get fleas, and we do have fleas that are out and about in the bush. When you walk up to an active hyena den, you can actually see them leap towards you. That's one of the ways when you're looking for hyena dens, if you see tracks and stuff, but you're not sure whether it's active or not, notice if the fleas start swarming towards you. Okay, bye-bye, kudus. Let's keep moving. I haven't been down to this western section for quite a while, so it's quite nice taking my time, driving slowly, enjoying that magnificent view of the African sunset as I trundle along. Hoping to spot a kitty cat walking down the road towards me. Well, it seems like I put a jinx on Bushwalk team because I said they'd been on fire at finding cats. Let's go see if they're having one last grasp at finding us a cat this evening.
We are very excited. The impala have been really annoying us. We started moving out the area and we heard the of Inyala. Those guys are very, very reliable. Straight down where we've been the entire time. Something has been hiding in the grass. And now it's time to see it. Wondering who it's going to be. But Nyala make that very loud bark. All the Tragelaphus species, as far as I know, bushbuck, kudu, Nyala, they make that loud call because of the vegetation that they find themselves in, that alarm call. That's more of the bass. Sorry about that. More of a bass to explode out of this vegetation to attract or to let all the other animals know that they've spotted something. And thankfully it's very loud that we can hear it as well. And so we're charging down with Herbie in the lead to see if we can find what it is that caused them to make that alarm. It's exactly where we've been searching this entire time. As I said, if it's someone like Hosana, he's probably just been lying completely flat. Now as the air temperature's dropping, it's getting a lot cooler, a lot more comfortable. It's actually been quite an uncomfortably warm day compared to the last few days. And you would expect a cat to be lying flat in this heat. Remember, folks, this is absolutely, they're calling from just here. That's exactly where we went in originally. It's exactly where we went in. I know Herbie was getting a little bit disappointed that we didn't find a cat where we thought we were going to find one. Look how excited he is. He's even jogging ahead. Stay with us, folks. Send your comments, your questions. I might sound a little bit out of breath. We just charged about 1 kilometer down this hill through the thickets. Dave's doing a fantastic job of keeping the frame. We've got the impala calling on this side. The Nyala calling just inside the Mawati. We've already been there, but we didn't stand on Hosana's tail, so he didn't show himself. It's Waterhole Dam, just off to our left-hand side. It's very exciting, huge anticipation. Now the objective is you need to find, there's some impala there, look, you're a little bit concerned. You need to find those Nyala and see what direction they're looking in. This is when we need to be very careful and slow in our approach. I don't care how many times you find a leopard on foot, folks. It's always the same feeling just before you find it. And if we do see it, we're going to do a backward somersault. Saskia, it's impossible not to have a contagious excitement now. The anticipation of it is, it's always very, very exciting. It's just in here somewhere. Okay, come. We've got him. We've got someone. Herbie's excited. Where are you, Herbs? He's running just here. Look at that. We walked right past here moments ago. Do you want to come over here, Davy? Come here quickly, buddy. There he goes. Is that Hosana, Herbie? Okay. We're going to keep coming around. Look how exciting that is. I think it was Hosana, but I don't know. So Bex, you can let Brenda know that we're just behind Waterhole Dam wall. And if he wants to come, there we go. If he wants to come, he's busy stalking right now. Sorry, Dave. Busy stalking those Nyala. It's incredible we're able to do this on foot. How exciting is that? The words, there's not really any words. It's going to come out into the open soon. Herbie's calling us forward. There he is, Davy. Stalking. Just on the mound there. We're just going to spend some time here and watch him. I wonder if any of the viewers can tell me who they think that is. I haven't managed to get my binoculars on it yet. I think it's a young male. I think it's Hosana, but Herbie, Herbs, Hosana. I mean, if Herbie's not sure, it doesn't matter. We found a leopard. Just through there you can see the tail flicking. It's moving left. It's fantastic that we can do this on foot with the leopard. He's about to pop out onto the dam wall, folks. So those who are paying attention to the dam cam, the zoomies, be ready to get Hosana coming in from the sort of southwestern section of the dam wall. So that is it, folks. We've been in there. We did entire circles here. Maybe he was getting frustrated because we didn't find anything. And then Yala, ooh. And there's a leopard right here. How exciting is that? We're going to go around more. We're just going to watch some herbs. Okay, we're going to come in from around the bottom. See if we can get another view. So I know everyone back home is not quite sure. We're hoping for Hosana, but he's very relaxed on foot. Very, very relaxed. I don't think... It didn't look big enough to be Hukumori to me at all. hear the squirrels making a noise there now. Okay, so you can't hear the squirrels, but I can hear them in the trees. Just a here he is, Davy. Come right here. Right over there. Looks like Tandy, actually. Looking straight at him. She's lying flat. Is breathing quite heavy now. This has been quite intense, quite an insane piece of camera work. How far have we come? How long have you been with us? We've got a leopard foot and he's having a steady hand. I'm shaking. I don't know if anyone can agree with me, but I got just a little look. I don't know who it is. How incredible is that? Can you hear Brent's vehicle in the distance? Brent's gonna come in. Gonna get up behind her there. So we're gonna slowly start moving back over here. That was incredible. Just move out a little bit. Give him a nice spot to come and view her. Him. I don't know. Is it Tandy? Is it Hosana?
Sorry about that, folks. Not sure what happened. Tech team have obviously rectified the situation. Now, it seems like I should go to bushwalk more often because they've produced. So James was not too far from the area. I know he's trying to get in there at the moment to see if he can see which leopard it is. I've heard Hosana, I've heard Tandy. So exciting stuff. Now, I'm rolling the dice. I'm heading towards our western boundary, and I'm going to go very slowly up the western boundary and hope the Inkahumas or Hukamuri or Shidulu make an appearance. So, fingers crossed. Sorry, Zeds? There's a squirrel. You sure it wasn't a dwarf mongoose that ran across the road? Since I've seen a squirrel doing something strange. Let's see if the squirrel is still there. Well, the squirrel is gone. Apparently our sound is going berserk. I'm not sure why. Everything's fine this side, Rebecca. Not from us. I'm not sure. Is it okay now, Bex? I can carry on. I'm allowed to move again. Yay. Okay. So as I said, I'm gonna. So we're not sure what's making all the noise. We're gonna go across to James.
Okay, here we have what looks to me like a female leopard. There she goes. Is it a female? Bit exposed. No. Is it? She's just lying down there. I think it's a female. Let's go and look. I didn't see properly, but then there seemed to be a little golden orb sticking out from behind the tail there. Is it our little friend? It's our pal. Now the game is up. They've all spotted this magnificent creature. Oh, it's beautiful. Isn't that stunning, everybody? Just going to let go of the clutch there. Just beautiful. And you can hear the monkeys maybe going crazy. I'm not sure if we're on the Gari or Waterhole feeds at the moment. So 3-3 spot pattern. I mean, when I initially saw this thing, I thought this is a female, but that's too young to be Tundi, I think, unless I've gone completely mad. Now, it can see the bushwalk behind us. They're just disappearing. Now, you all think it's Shadulu, but it's definitely not Shadulu because Shadulu's a 5-5 female. If I'm not mistaken, she's got a spot pattern 5-5. Got a bit of a scuffed left ear. I have to confess that I'm slightly flummoxed by this. It'll probably be, and I'm very bad at identifying these animals, so I say that as a disclaimer straight off. She's still watching the bushwalk trying to sneak away sneakily. See, definitely 3 spots there, flattening the ears there just to make sure she's as invisible as possible. It's definitely not Shadulu, people. I feel like a total idiot that I can't identify this animal immediately. Very pink nose. Ali, I was hoping you wouldn't ask this question. You say, am I sure it's not Hosana? No, I'm not sure it's not Hosana. I think it could easily be.